Hello and welcome to the news on NTA International. I am Olajide Bello. First, the headlines. Head of state and government seek to generate enhanced political commitment in trade as development agenda for African continent. Court of Appeal dismisses suit seeking disqualification of APC presidential candidate. Plus, all is set for 2023 general elections as INEC chairman inspects National Collation Center and ADAC staff undergoing training. United Nations has expressed support for an integrated, prosperous and peaceful Africa. Secretary General of the global body, Antonio Guterres, said this at the African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday reports.
On the sidelines of the 36th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, the UN scribe Antonio Guterres praised the many African Union initiatives aimed at bringing about great vision for the continent, including Agenda 2063, a blueprint for the Africa of the future, and the decade of women's financial and economic inclusion.
And so today,
Guterres then announced that the Central Emergency Response Fund will release $250 million to support some of the most vulnerable people in the world, including those at risk of famine in the drought-hit Horn of Africa.
Around the world today, 339 million people are in need of humanitarian aid, an increase of more than 25% since last year. I am announcing the largest ever allocation from our United Nations Central Emergency Response Fund to combat famine and to address unfunded emergencies.
Guterres, who bemoans the Security Council's lack of African representation, said the biggest injustice that exists today in Council is that lack of at least one African permanent member. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
The 36th Ordinary Session of the African Union is underway in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with participating heads of state and government seeking to generate greater political commitment in the trade as a development agenda for the continent. President Muhammadu Buhari is leading Nigeria's delegation to the high-level summit for the last time as head of state. A State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports that President Azali Assoumani of Comoros took over the chairmanship of the union from his Senegalese counterpart, Macky Sall.
This year's summit of the heads of state and government of the African Union has as its theme acceleration of the African Continental Free Trade Area implementation. Participants are seeking to enhance close collaboration with all relevant organs and specialized agencies of the African Union, regional mechanisms and economic communities towards fast-tracking the implementation of the AfCFTA for the benefit of Africa's population. The AfCFTA, they say, presents a unique opportunity for the continent to attain economic emancipation, which will lead to job creation, poverty alleviation, improved welfare and sustainable development. The opening speeches, however, touched on the various socio-economic, political and security challenges bedeviling Africa, as well as ways and means of addressing them in the greater interests of the continent and its people.
The ties between the African Union and the United Nations have never been stronger. But I also recognize the enormous tests that Africa, and indeed our world, is facing on virtually every front. The United Nations is proud to be your partner and to work together.
It is time for Africa to feed itself and fully unlock its agricultural potential to feed the world. Until Africa tells her own stories, her image will remain distorted. In this respect, please allow me to reiterate yet again the need to establish an African Union Continental Media House.
The AfCFTA presents itself as a tool to be deployed by the African Union to position Africa to adequately respond to the challenges of our time. We must dare to invent the economic future of the African continent.
President Muhammadu Buhari, who addressed the summit during a closed session, made a strong case for commitment by member states to hasten the completion of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. This, he said, will go a long way in promoting fair and competitive trade relations towards diversifying their economies and stimulating regional integration with the aim of achieving sustainable growth and development. While stating emphatically that Nigeria fully embraced the spirit of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement, President Muhammadu Buhari is, however, worried over the multiplicity of intellectual property bodies on the continent, which he said must be harmonized so that an effective and comprehensive One Africa market can be achieved. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
This week on the world in 6 days, Cyclone Gabrielle wreaked havoc in New Zealand while the world responds to needs of Turkey, Syria earthquake victims. Charles Alpha now reports.
New Zealand on Monday declared national state of emergency for the third time in its history after Cyclone Gabrielle caused widespread flooding. Flights were cancelled while hundreds of thousands of homes remained without power, a dire situation that has prompted Prime Minister Chris Hipkins to declare a national state of emergency. The Prime Minister said that the severity of the damage have not been experienced in a generation. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday announced that Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad has opened additional border crossing to the disaster-stricken country, which until Monday, allowing aid and rescue workers into the country, was Bab al-Hawa between the Turkish city of Antakya and Aleppo in Syria. Guterres said the newly opened crossing Bab al-Salam and al-Ra'i will be open for an initial period of 3 months to allow for the timely delivery of humanitarian aid as the toll of the 6th February earthquake continues to mount. Also during the week, Azerbaijan opened first field hospital for quake victims in Turkey's Kahramanmaraş. The hospital has a laboratory, a local anesthesia and surgery department. Azerbaijan authorities said it will build another with a separate department for pediatrics and general surgery while standing by their brothers in Turkey until the duty is done. And on Thursday, the World Bank President David Malpass announced his early resignation, saying he plans to step down before the end of his 5-year term. Malpass informed the World Bank's board of executive directors on Wednesday that he will exit the organization on June 30 after serving more than 4 years. His 5-year term was due to end in April of 2024. Elsewhere, China called for the lift of sanctions placed on Iran during President Xi Jinping's visit to Tehran. The Chinese president expressed his opposition to foreign interference in Iran's internal affairs. And in Africa, Kenya's President William Ruto ordered the army to join a security operation against armed bandits in the northern Rift Valley region that have killed dozens of people in recent months. Reports said the troops would be deployed to support the police from Wednesday. It came as the Interior Minister declared parts of 6 countries in the region as disturbed and dangerous, issuing a 30-day dusk-to-dawn curfew starting from Tuesday. It ordered all people holding illegal guns and ammunition to hand them over to the authorities in 3 days or meet the full force of the law. Also during the week in Africa, Rwanda accused DR Congo's soldiers of attack on its army border post. It said its troops briefly exchanged fire with soldiers from the Democratic Republic of the Congo at a border post as tension continues to spike between the neighbors. In a statement, Kigali said that 12 to 14 Congolese soldiers entered the neutral zone near the western district of Rusizi and opened fire at a Rwanda border post and deems it an act of provocation. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Pangolins are mammals that provide great benefits to the ecosystem, yet they are facing threat of extinction. To prevent this, efforts to end poaching and illegal trade in wildlife and the creature must be intensified. Hunters are emphasizing this as Nigeria joins the global community to mark World Pangolin Day. Lanre Bilay has more.
Pangolins, known in some parts of the world as scaly entities, are found in Asia and sub-Saharan Africa. They are one of the most endangered species in the world because of their scales that are used for fashion and traditional medicines. In some cultures, pangolins are a delicacy too. The toothless creature that feeds on only ants and termites are currently in the International Union for Conservation of Nature's Red List of Threatened Species.
But if we went to the group hunting, if they see it, they will kill it and we eat it. But now, nobody should do it. It's a law throughout the Nigeria according to what we learn. So we persuade our people they should not kill. And because of that one, the government is doing their best to satisfy the hunters.
In Nigeria, pangolins are found mostly in Lagos, Kogi, Kwara, Benue, Niger, Taraba, and reserves in Ogun, Ondo, and Oyo states. The high rate of poaching is a crucial factor affecting the existence of pangolins. Financial gains from their sales is high, as one sells for as high as 7,000 naira, an amount hunters cannot resist in spite of awareness initiative to educate them.
We used to see them, but now they are not in our area anymore. Mostly that giant pangolin, we have not seen it anymore. So that shows that this animal has been endangered.
Hunters like Adesada, Adeniyi, Sunday, and others like them in Epe area of Lagos believe preserving pangolins can be achieved through continuous education and empowerment of hunters. Pangolin species are protected by national and international laws. February 18 has also been set aside annually to address the rapidly declining number of these mammals. In Lagos, Lanre Bilay, NTA News.
The Apex Bank's cashless policy has continued to create some challenges with bank customers, leading to dissatisfaction with bank activities. In this report, Tope Alabi takes a look at how good customer relations by banks can douse tensions.
It was a policy planned to redesign 200, 500 and 1,000 naira notes and put the old notes out of circulation. The Central Bank of Nigeria says the intention is to minimize the volume of cash in circulation and reduce inflation. With the expiration of the February 10 deadline for the Naira redesign policy, accessing the new note has however become a challenge for citizens, and some are already taking out their frustrations on the banks.
There's the old 200 Naira banknote.
President Muhammadu Buhari's directive to bring back old 200 Naira notes in circulation till the 10th day of April, though seen as a remedial measure, has so far not been able to lessen the crowds at the banks.
Actually, it's not easy. Some people, I will be giving them the old 200 naira, they will still refuse that, they will not collect it. Me, myself, I do collect it.
They keep on promising us that the things is going to change. So, and we are not seeing any changes.
Maximum withdrawal for a day is 20,000. But as it is, my brother, you cannot even get 5,000.
Tina and Kemakolam, a pensioner, and Michael Okanem believe this is a trying time for Nigerian banks and a true test of their customer service.
I prayed, I said, God, I hope I'll collect my pension. As I came around, a young man was standing there. He was talking to people. I said, this is a good environment. The man, brought out himself so low and was talking to the public. I said, sir, can you help me, please?
Ever since the shortage of cash, they've been having a way of reaching out to customers, just that they have shortage of cash.
Every ordinary 200 is very hard. Can you imagine? I'll be standing for like 3 hours just for me to get cash. I cannot even be able to touch any cash.
With banks attending to customers and customers being able to carry out their transactions, expectations are that the tension will further be doused. In Abuja, Tokpe Alabi, NTA News.
The Nigeria Police Force is warning groups and individuals against divisive comments and utterances capable of heating up the polity and triggering crisis in the nation. A statement by the force says the warning becomes necessary considering the perceived reactions and utterances of certain groups and individuals as an attempt to heat up the polity and spontaneously instigate the populace against the government and its policies for their peculiar interests and gains. The force enjoins the public to desist from any act of violence, hooliganism and vandalism that may jeopardize the ongoing electoral process. Meanwhile, the force is assuring the public that it is working in concert with defense, security and intelligence agencies to provide a peaceful environment for all citizens to conduct their socio-economic activities. Just a week to the 2023 general election, and the military is engaging major stakeholders to ensure no part of the country experiences any disturbance, especially the southeast. Governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, who delivered a lecture at the symposium organized by the National Defense College in Abuja, gives detailed experience on the situation in the southeast and the way forward. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports.
Security in Imo State may just be similar across several claims, but what makes it expedient is having an incumbent governor sharing his bitter experience in a presentation titled National Security, Strategic Leadership and Development, My Political Experience, with emphasis on the difficult task of fighting complex security situations. And to foster ties in translating this lecture into workable solutions, the state is seeking collaboration with the National Defense College to stem the tide.
I said also in the same lecture that the support of Mr. President Muhammad Buhari and the security agencies were able to deal with the monster called insecurity, occasioned by the activities of the unknown gunmen. We brought it into the barest minimum, and the Imo State is relatively now peaceful.
Governor Hope hopes that as days pass by, the new platform created by this research document will assist in further developing the state and the region to its full potentials. From the National Defense College in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
You're watching the news on NTA International live from Abuja. We'll take a break now. More news after the break. Thanks for being there. All is now set for the 2023 general elections. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the assurance after inspecting the National Collation Center and other staff undergoing training in Abuja. Mie Ogidi reports.
The 2023 general elections just a week away, and the INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu away from his office to the Government Secondary School, Gariki, Abuja, inspecting ad hoc staff undergoing training. From here off to the International Conference Center, Abuja, housing three major venues for the elections: the National Collation Center, the Situation Room, and Press Center.
We're going to get feedbacks from all the states, what's going on in the states, and also we'll be having press briefing. And in a few days' time, we're going to be having daily briefings here also.
Naira scarcity and the protest generated in some parts of the country, not threats to the elections, the INEC chairman assured.
That, as I keep saying, we will not suffer any hindrances. What is happening around the country, the protest that you have mentioned, this is an issue that we are going to discuss with the security agencies. By this time next week, Nigerians will be voting in over 176,000 polling units nationwide. And the outcome of that process for presidential election will be compiled here. And the choice made by Nigerians for the next president of the country will also be announced at this venue.
That is an assurance coming from a confident national chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to Nigerians that next week, Saturday, 25 of February 2023, presidential and national assembly elections will hold. That means by Sunday or Monday, Nigerians will know their president and vice president-elect, as well as members of the National Assembly. Until then, my name is Mie Ogidi from the National Collation Center, ICC, Abuja.
The amalgamated APC support group Saturday took to the major streets of Abuja, the nation's capital, for a pre-election rally. Saliu Gwanara reports that the group is the focal organization of more than 2,000 APC support groups working towards the victory of APC.
It is exactly 1 week to the presidential election, and it looks like the All Progressives Congress amalgamated support groups are already in victory mode, as showcased at a victory rally that commenced from the Unity Fountain and terminated at the Buhari House, National Secretariat of the APC. Here, members were challenged to increase grassroots voter mobilization and translate their numerical strength into votes for the APC.
It's an obligation for every and each member of this party to go back to his various polling units and make sure that we have delivered the mandate of the party in producing the presidential candidate.
To ensure that up to ward level, they are there so that they can vote for our principle, guide our votes, and ensure our victory.
We've seen so much obstacles that is coming forth, but by a special grace, we will keep jumping the obstacle with Tinubu, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. By his grace, we shall smile again.
Meanwhile, the APC Progressive Young Women Forum has taken their voter awareness campaign to students at the University of Abuja.
The sensitization program gave our students opportunity to learn from experts on how to, the steps to take to ensure that they exercise their franchise.
Every eligible voter and a citizen of Nigeria is required to be part of the electionary process come February 25th.
Because they must be educated on the voting process. So that's why we have come around to tell them that they should come out in mass and exercise their civic duty.
Voter sensitization activities are on the increase as the nation counts down Decision Day. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
The 2023 general elections will come and go, but Nigeria as a country will remain. Therefore, the need to keep hard going forward is a task that must be done. This is the advice from the youth wing of the PDP, APC and Labour Party, with representatives agreeing to work together to achieve a peaceful poll. Timothy Yusuf reports.
For this very
They came together to promote their presidential candidate's agenda with a common position that election is not a war, telling Nigerians how the presidential candidates of their various parties intend to solve most of the challenges bedeviling the nation and their plans for the youth if elected.
I am standing on a record of a person who is the only candidate who has been involved in wealth creation, wealth generation, job creation at the national level.
Peter has demonstrated unparalleled competence, unexampled capacity, unprecedented courage, and unrivaled capacity to birth a Nigeria that we can be proud of.
There is a man who I can gladly call the architect of modern Lagos. There's a difference between, they will say, he's the builder of Lagos. No, I'm saying he's the architect of modern Lagos. He laid the foundation.
The youth reminded themselves to say no to any form of violence before, during and after elections. Although they must promote their candidates, love for the nation should come first, they emphasized. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Supporters of Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi are optimistic of victory in next Saturday elections. The various solidarity groups took to the streets to galvanize support for the party. David Irie reports.
The various support groups are together to drum support for Labour Party with this show tagged Obedient Global March 2023. From the Eagle Square, the youths took to the major streets, preaching the gospel of good tidings of what Nigeria stands to gain if Peter Obi is elected before betting the show at the city gates.
Keep your faith strong. Do not be scared. Do not cower. Do not lose faith, because we shall win this election.
We are going to start now moving to the wards and polling unit on the 19th, 22nd until 23rd. That is what we want to do because it's the final push. It's now or never.
So I'm urging everybody to come out, vote for Peter Obi and secure Nigeria for yourself.
In the next 6 days, we will go to touch every single grain of sand in this country.
Vote Mama, Papa, Pikin across board.
The roadshow, which is holding nationwide, has at its theme, now or never. In Abuja, David Ire, NTA News.
In a matter of days, Nigerians will go to the polls to decide the political fate of the country, and environmentalists insist that combating climate change must be central to the administrative agenda of the new leadership. NTA Fineface reports.
Although recognized mostly as environmental emergency, climate change events have far-reaching social, economic and security implications. This informs the advocacy for climate change conscious leadership at all levels of governance in the country on the flip side of the 2023 general elections.
It is a national development problem. It creates social dislocation. It creates hunger. It creates strife. Climate change is a national security imperative. But what it does is it destroys the fabric of the community, destroys our businesses, our farmlands, and our sources of livelihood.
The National Council on Climate Change is leading this campaign, which recognizes the role of women and youth in creating public awareness on climate-positive lifestyles.
My message to the incoming president is to focus more on climate change than ever before, because we cannot escape it.
The good news is that if we can act on climate change in a sensible and wise and intelligent manner, we can actually turn it from being a threat to being an opportunity. For example, in the area of renewable energy.
Experts want the new administration to implement the climate change law and Nigeria's commitment to global climate targets. NTA Fineface, NTA News.
The Court of Appeal sitting in Abuja has dismissed the suit seeking the disqualification of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Tinubu. The three-man panel of justices gave the verdict in a unanimous decision in Abuja. The court held that the suit, which was not a pre-election matter, was dismissed for lacking in merit. The appellate court upheld the decision of the trial court, which also dismissed the matter. The court described the appellant as a meddlesome interloper that lacked the right to institute such matter in court. The court awarded 100,000 naira as cost against the appellant. And this is where we end the news on NTA International. Remember to join us in the campaign against rape and rapists.